So there are two related issues here. To me, cybersecurity is one of the fundamental security threats of the 21st century. And one way we can help make progress in cybersecurity, right now, how do we all interact with cybersecurity? We give our data to a variety of tech companies. Even the lawyers among us do not read that language when they ask us to agree to something, right? You just scroll down and say, I agree. And then you hope for the best. And then periodically there's some press release saying, hey, Yahoo's passwords were hacked. And then you're like, do I have to change my password? That is the way we interact with our data right now. It's essentially we've given our data to some variety of tech companies, in some cases willingly, in some cases unknowingly, and then we don't know what happens. And what's happening right now to that data is it's getting sold and resold and repurposed, sometimes anonymously, sometimes not, to various companies, where if you give your data to a company, it might have changed hands a dozen times since. You have no idea what happened. You certainly didn't participate in that value. So one step towards adequate cybersecurity is to hold the tech companies accountable for what is happening to our data. I am the only candidate who is saying that our data is ours and it should be our property, regardless of whether we essentially loan it or lease it to these tech companies. It still should be ours. And then the onus is on the tech companies to say, okay, here's what we're doing with your data. Here's whether we're profiting from it. And if you want, you can actually unplug at any time. This would raise the standard on the tech companies in terms of their responsibility to both report what they're doing and also protect our information, because then it's seen as our property. Then the second part of this is the cybersecurity itself. Right now, unfortunately, the tech companies don't have that strong a financial interest in protecting our data because we don't know what they're doing with it, and all they do is occasionally just have a press release they hope everyone ignores, which frankly we do ignore. Our government has been decades behind the curve on technology, and that's not an exaggeration. We actually got rid of the Office of Technology Assessment in 1995, so we are precisely 24 years behind the curve on technology. I guess they decided that everything had been invented by 1995. So first, we create an actual financial incentive for the tech companies to protect our data. We say it's ours. And then second, we enforce new cybersecurity regs that actually raise the standards for the companies. I've talked to tech leaders. I'm friendly with some of them. I've been endorsed by Elon Musk, Jack Dorsey, Sam Altman, Alexis Ohanian, who's better known as Serena Williams' husband. And the techies know that that things have gone too far, and that in some cases they're even actually calling out for government partnership, which is unheard of in that industry, you should know. Like, it's not normal for them to be like, hey, you know what, we could actually use a little bit of government on this. But they are at that point now, and that's where they are on cybersecurity. Because the truth is, it's very hard for them to safeguard against Russian hacking and a bunch of other things. So they're actually looking to the government for help right now. And that's what we need to provide. There's no easy answer because it's much easier to hack these systems than it is to secure them. And there's this new technology coming out right now. I hate to scare you guys, but quantum computing. It's going to be a great leap forward in de-encryption and theoretically encryption, but primarily de-encryption, where just imagine a computer that can make nearly infinite calculations in a relatively short period of time, and that enables them to break almost any conventional encryption that exists right now. Google just announced that they have a quantum computer that can make these calculations. So we are entering a very, very tough phase in American life. This is before we have something called deep fakes, which are essentially videos that are indistinguishable from the original video. So there could be a video of me shaking hands with Putin or whatever. And then if you saw the video, I've never met Putin, just so you know, there's no video of that. But that even if you were to forensically analyze it, you wouldn't be able to tell the fake from the real. We're entering that time in American history. And it is imperative that our government actually catch up to the problems of 2019 as quickly as possible. I believe that's what I can help accelerate.
Can I just follow up on that? What do we need to do now to prepare for a 2020 presidential election where there will be no hacking and no interference at all?
Well, it would help if we had a current administration that actually seemed to care about safeguarding us against Russian hacking. The tech companies are going to do more this time, but they tell me that there is no way that they can 100% safeguard their social networks from bots and various forms of interference. They're playing catch up. They're stamping out the obvious misinformation. My feeling about how we safeguard our democracy in 2020 is we win by such a margin that even hacking at the margins and machines in various districts will not alter the result. This past time, Donald Trump had to pull a bit of an inside straight in some states. If you had 70,000 votes go the other direction in various states, the outcome would have been different. The goal here is to run up our margin of victory by a point where some tampering at the margins doesn't hurt us. I am one of only 2 candidates in the field that 10% or more of Donald Trump voters say they will support in the general, which makes me perhaps the strongest candidate to beat him in 2020. And my head-to-head matchups against him, including here in New Hampshire, have me winning by 8 points or more. So that's one way we can protect ourselves against hacking, is win by so much that 1 or 2% of the margins doesn't hurt us.
Well, with that, I want to thank Andrew for being here today and answering the questions and give us an update.
Thank you very much.
Hello. It's okay.